Hello, hello. How are you today, friends? Okay, so I'm going to try the new format again today. I'm going to only talk about the Schumann Resonance chart first, then Schumann Resonance plus inspired energy. I'll talk about the energies that I see in the chart, and then I will do an inspired energy discussion. And the inspired energy discussion today is going to be about it's going to be about this part of the chart. And what I was inspired to talk about based on other conversations I've had recently is to talk about where we are most challenged by interactions with the people who are closest to us, and how to handle that and how to transmute it. Because what I see happening here is light being brought to these very low hertz. And in the human brain waves, this is in the it's in the unconscious, subconscious, mostly that's where it's happening. Even getting up into the higher intuitive, it's really happening deep inside. And since we get the most challenged by family, friends, close associates, people at work we have to interact with, I thought that some techniques for how to deal with that are energy-based might be helpful given the chart. Okay, so let's talk about the Schumann Resonance chart today. I talked about this part of the chart in the last video. So what I want to highlight is just a couple of new things. First, the way the chart presents here, it's almost like an antenna here and a blue flame. When I look at this, I almost see it moving, and it's in the gamma level of hertz, gamma brainwave level of hertz. I just thought that was really interesting. It's like a flame in the mind, a flicker in the mind, and it's blue. I see it as a sacred kind of energy. Okay, the other thing that's interesting is that this line here, the dash line at 16, has continued, and it's very consistent all the way through the chart for 3 days. Now, there has been dash lines here at 16 before. I talk a little bit about this in the video in the beginner's playlist that I called Background Signal. But I want to note it because it has been quite a while since it has been so consistently across the chart. And the other thing that's continuing is this splinters that I called them splinters at 24. This also showed up for me as just being really beautiful. So it's interesting because we had the white resonance show up here in these sort of matrixy lines. And while I view the white as being representative of sort of a higher consciousness, divine light, celestial energy, but it also shows where the action is happening on the chart. And the action right now for the chart and for the human collective that this chart, I feel, represents, appears to be going on sort of deep within us, okay, at levels that also, now here we get, this is, I think, in about the alpha brainwave level, it's coming to the surface a little bit, okay, but most of the action is deep down here. Yeah, same as this section here in the chart. But here, with much more attention being brought, although it's still at the unconscious, subconscious levels, much more light there. So in the middle of this happening, we get this blue line. And do you see how it's swirly here, almost like a DNA, like a double helix feel to it? It has a feel of movement, and it has a kind of a light and celestial feel, the blue protective feeling energy, a space of calm. It has all those feels to it. But what it appears to be doing is connecting. See, we've been paying attention here at 20 hertz in the beta brainwave level, but we're connecting that paying attention with our divinity. That's what it looks like here. It's almost like divinity. Either we're reaching out or divinity is reaching in to provide us assistance. And then what happens right after that? We get a much brighter light up in the subconscious, unconscious hertz brainwave level of hertz here. Let's look at this much more closely and see, wow, see what it looks like. Yeah, so it initiates, kind of starts to form in here, but it really initiates at this line. And then, yeah, do you see how the swirling here? Do you see that? Isn't that cool? Like DNA, like a swirl. God, it's fascinating. Here's what I call one of the watchers. Here. It just, yeah, like a presence that is paying attention at some level of consciousness. It's interesting, right here, it puffs out a little bit. Look at that interesting square. It's like a blue and purple that connects with this blue beam that it almost feels like it either emanates out of gamma or it gets stronger as it reaches the spiritual levels of our brain waves. That's what gamma is. And this here, all that occurs to me at the moment is the magical element of creation. This pattern is resonant with the flower of life. There's various reasons for that, and that's it. That's it for the Schumann chart discussion today. Okay, now let's take a look at the chart energy as a whole. We had this timeline shift. We're experiencing this calm, like a 0 point type energy, prayerful connectedness, meditative centeredness. Okay, we've seen this strange creature that popped out once we got into this state. And from a state of calm and connectedness, that's where we can see where we're not aligned in our life in terms of being aligned with the divinity that we are, with the soul connection that we have. And when I look at this line in energy, all I hear is like do 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 do, like a monitoring of some sort. I don't know what that flash was. What is happening here? Okay, let's see here. Yeah, and then we get insight. We get an insight, but it's not, it's only minimally brought up to our conscious mind. The space clears. It's almost like these sharp energies come in. But look at that. Look at the beautiful, there's some beautiful purple there. There's also dark areas, which to me are, unconscious energies or sort of dark forces type energies, but they could also just be our unconscious, what we're unconscious of. But it looks like we're getting some support from, the purple represents the divine to me here. And then there's an activation here. See the gray and the black lines. It's like we perceive this gray and black energy that came in. It started right about here. And then red. There's a point of red on it. We perceive this line. It only goes for short ways on the chart. And then we get this activation. So we perceive something. Okay? Right here we perceive something, and then that we perceive an event, person, place, or thing. We get an activation from that. Then that activation goes into the subconscious or unconscious, and then it ignites. Yeah, that's what I see here energetically. It's almost like there's these, I see kind of like these beings here, almost like drawings from the cave walls and like the American Indians or in South America. That's what this is reminiscent of to me. Not sure what that means. Maybe it means we're perceiving a alien influence, an influence that's not human-like. It doesn't represent what humanity is all about, really. Or that there's a deep connection with our ancient memory that will hopefully, that's helping bring this to light, bring something to light for us. Yeah. Now, talking about bringing something to light, I wanted to talk about difficult situations, because we're in a time where there's a lot of disagreement and polarization between family, friends, work associates, within communities. It's my view that this polarization is not at the extent that we're being told that it is. It's just that it stands out so strongly for us when we perceive it in the current times, in these energies. So if you want to deal with trauma that has been inflicted on you by someone close to you, okay, where it's almost pushing you to the edge of your ability to handle it, okay, there's a several point technique. I'm just going to go over its surface level right now to bring up the idea, and either another time or in a class or in a one-on-one session I can go deeper into this. But okay, so number one, the first thing is to ground energetically within your body, in your energy field, because these kinds of situations can pop us out of our heart space to where most of our energy ends up floating like out in the field, okay? So to recenter and reconnect with your soul in the heart space through prayer, okay, with God the Most High, the creator of the universe, qualify who God is to you and what level of energy you connect with. And do what you need to do to take care of yourself physically. Okay, so that's number one. Physical and energetic care, self-care, and maintenance. Okay, now, number two. From this space, you can, in energy, okay, and this is a thumbnail from a previous video that I did, but it was interesting because it's almost like there's a person here, okay, in the chart, and it's very applicable. So what you do is, from within this centered, soul-connected place, you go back to the moment. And for some people, there may be many, many, many of these, okay? But just pick one, okay? Whatever one is on your mind. You go back to that moment. You see yourself and the person with whom you've had agitation. Now, you bring yourself back to that moment. And what you do is, rather than doing anything with the person that you're interacting with, you work with yourself. You face yourself, or you stand with, next to, beside, behind, in front of, whatever feels right. You face yourself. So you do this in a meditative state. However you experience that. Some people you could imagine yourself seeing yourself there. You could feel it. You could just know it. However you experience this in energy and prayer or meditation. So you sit with yourself and you bring that calm, centered state to yourself in that moment. Okay, here's the light at her pineal. Here's the light at her heart. You realize in that moment that you are facing yourself with essentially a tattered energy field, okay? Because it got to you then. That's why we're doing this now, right? Somehow. So what you do is in that moment, so that's number 2, you bring yourself to that moment. And rather than focusing on the other person, you focus on yourself first. And I'm only going to focus on that in this quick video because healing yourself heals the world. I mean, bottom line. Okay, so as you focus on yourself, you bring in the light that you are, okay? You're in the past, you're looking at yourself in a situation with someone that caused an upsetting situation. You bring the light, okay, that you already are through your soul, through the heart connection. You bring that to yourself. Make sure that you've already brought it with you in the current moment. Then you bring it to you in the past. You reach out to his or her heart, the you that you are in the past, in the agitating situation. You connect with her or him. And you bring self-forgiveness, forgiveness of the situation, not for the other person, but for you, for how you handled it, how you didn't handle it, whatever it happens to be. You bring love to you in the past. And, you may experience seeing the you of the past transform as he or she receives this loving care from the you who you are now, reaching out and being with yourself in the past, okay, in that moment of agitation. Because what will happen is the light that you are will essentially burst the bubble of that negative energy. It will, it will burn it off. It will evaporate. It will blow into dust, blow out of the field, kindly and gently. And there's one more thing. Okay, so that was number 3. Number 4. Find in yourself where you can touch the gratitude for the person agitating you in the past. You don't have to face them. It's not about them. It's about the fact that by interacting with you this way, they caused you to look for a solution that brought you closer to God in this moment now, that brought you closer to fully embodying the soul that you are, and that taught you how to truly love yourself in all moments, and to love every part of you, past, present, future, and now.